Hello and welcome to the Denver Homes Market Report. Denver's monthly real estate podcast comes out on around the first Thursday of each month. This is Ricky.schoonover. I'm with 8Z Real Estate, your local realtor here and host of this podcast. And thank you very much for tuning in. I'm in my van again this month, as you can see here. I love it in here. I sometimes do it in my office, but I feel like I might be I talk loud, so I think that maybe it kind of bleeds through the walls and might give a little bit unpleasantries to my colleagues over there. Sometimes I do it in my home office, but then my dog starts barking at the trash truck or whatever. So I've kind of found that my new camper van is my new podcast spot. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's got a little fan going up here. It feels beautiful today in Denver. And so let's jump right into the podcast. So last month, we talked a little bit about getting your realtor involved early, right? Whether you're buying or selling, I don't care if it's 6 months, 8 months, a year, call me and let me know what you've got planned. And then I can meet with you and kind of help you get those things going. Whether you're selling your home and we're going to be getting your home ready for market and you just want to know like, okay, where are we at in the market right now? What do I need to do to my home? Those type of things. Get me involved early. Or if you're buying a home, we can get you linked in with one of my lender partners and kind of work on any credit issues, that kind of stuff, get you ready. So when you do go to purchase your home, you do go to sell your home, you're 100% ready. So get us involved early. Doesn't cost you anything more. We don't only get paid when we get to the closing table. It's kind of what my point was last month. We talked about that. And then what else did we talk about? Oh, Ricky, what will my home sell for? What's my home worth? That's an age-old question, and it's kind of an interesting answer for that one. We won't rehash the last podcast. If you missed a podcast last month, go last month, check it out, and we'll talk about in depth of how what we can come up with is what a reasonably educated buyer would likely pay for your home. And about this time, if you're on my YouTube channel, first of all, thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. There is a subscribe button. It's right there. So click that subscribe button for me. I'd really appreciate it. So what are we going to talk about for this month? Well, first of all, this is season 5, episode 12. So this is the last episode for this particular season. Most of you know, if you listen to the podcast, I started this in April, back when the pandemic was going on. So we'll start a new season, season 6, April, the first Thursday of April. And I've already got a great show lined up for that one. So I'm going to be going bullet point by bullet point. Why do you hire Ricky.schoonover to help you sell your home? And then the next month, we'll talk about why you hire Ricky.schoonover to purchase your home. And we'll go bullet point by bullet point. I'll show you what value I bring to the table on both sides of those transactions. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the next couple of episodes. But for today, I wanted to first of all say congratulations. If you're a buyer out there and you've been waiting for a balanced market, well, we're just about there. In January, if you listen to the podcast in January, we talked about we had 4.5 months of inventory, and the average price or the average time homes were staying on the market were about 60 days. Well, I just checked this morning, and we are now 6 months of inventory. So that's really about a balanced market. We're not really a buyer's market right now. It feels like it because we've had a seller's market for a long time, right? So it feels like a buyer's market now, but it's not really a buyer's market. We're really just getting to that balanced point. We got 6 months of inventory. So what that means is if we did not put another house on the market from now for the next 6 months, we would sell out of all the homes that we had available. There would be no more homes available based on the current absorption rate. So we have 6 months of inventory. That's really kind of a balanced market. If you're a seller, you're getting a fair shake, but you do have to work a lot harder than you had to. Come on, let's face it. Sellers, we've had it really easy, right? For the past decade. It's been a seller's market. Interest rates were quite low. The economy was humming along. We came out of that recession, which was 2008, 9, 10. And about 2014, 15, things started really picking up. And from there, that 2015 timeframe till about this last year or so, we've had a really good market for sellers. And we had a really good market when the pandemic, when they were passing out all those stimulus checks. There was too much money in the economy, and we overheated the market a little bit. We've kind of cooled down off of that. They bumped the interest rates up. We were at 3%, 4%. They got it up to 8%. That really halted the market there. And now we've settled that back down, got into that 7% range. And just this morning, that yield spread, right? The spread between where the benchmark rate is for the feds and then that yield spread where the investors get involved, about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, that was at 4.7, that yield spread. And this morning, when I opened up the morning news, we were at 4.3 yield spread. So what that means for you as a consumer, what that means for you as a mortgage loan, is the rates fell down to about 6.75, 6.8. So 6.75, we're below 7%. I really feel strongly that for this entire year, we're going to be somewhere in this 6 to 7 range, kind of going along for the full year. So I wouldn't look for any major changes in the interest rates. That could change. Anything geopolitically, wars out there, economy, indicators, lag indicators, lead indicators, that can change. But what I see right now without having a crystal ball is that we are going to be in that 6 to 7% interest rate for the year. So I wouldn't look for the interest rates to change all that much. We do have 6 months of inventory, and January we had 4.5 months. So that has grown about a month and a half. If that trend continues, I would see more pressure on prices. Right now, the average takes from the time you put your house on the market to the time you get an accepted offer. On average, that's taking 60 days. Now, that's not set in stone, right? I put a property on the market in Aurora. I put it on Friday morning, had an open house on Saturday, had multiple offers by Sunday, and we were under contract by Sunday night. So some of them move quickly. So what is moving the needle for that? It's merchandising. So what I mean by merchandising is getting your home show ready. You can't get away with selling homes with a bunch of deferred maintenance right now. You're not going to get top dollar, that's for sure. And then when you get to inspections, the buyer's going to beat you up. You've been waiting for 6 or 8 weeks for a buyer, and they're going to be like, oh, I need a new HVAC system. I need a new roof. I need that. You're probably going to work with them. You may not fix everything, but you're going to work with them on that and do the best you can not to lose that buyer, because you don't want to be waiting another 2 or 3 months for another buyer to come along if you go back on market. So if you're a buyer out there, you've got a lot of strength right now, a lot of power. If you're a seller, you just have to work a little harder than we've had to work in the last decade. It's kind of normal house selling, right? We're in a balanced market now, a more balanced market. So it's not like before where you could just put a house on the market and they had all kind of deferred maintenance, and the buyer comes back and says, hey, I can't get a 5-year roof cert on the roof. And you're like, well, is there anything wrong with the roof? And you're like, well, no, there's some damage up there that, they can't certify for 5 years. So we want you to put a new roof on. Well, back when the market was really busy and my clients had 15, 20 other offers, I would just reach out to those 15, 20 other offers and say, hey, here's the price my seller is selling the home for. It's probably going to need a new roof within 5 years. Is there anybody in this other pool of buyers out here that put your offer in that didn't get accepted that now wants to jump in? And we probably would have cut that buyer loose that wanted the new roof, and we would have brought another buyer in that was willing to buy the home at the price that we agreed to, knowing that it couldn't have a 5-year roof cert. So that's kind of the power that you have as buyers right now, is that the market, the sellers are waiting longer to get the buyers under contract. And then once they have you under contract, they don't want to lose you. So they don't want to have to go back on market and wait another, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. So they're going to work with you as buyers to get those repairs done. That's just a big change from where we've seen from years past. So right now we're at about a balanced market. If we get to the 8-month mark or 9-month mark, we're going to be in a buyer's market. Right now we're in a balanced market. Sorry, not a buyer's market. Right now we're balanced at 6 months. If we get to 8 or 9 months, that's really going to start tipping the scales to the buyers. And I think you'll see prices come down a little bit. We've already sort of leveled off, right? Like most of the 10 top economists are saying that we're probably going to grow at a 2.5%, 3%, kind of stick with the GDP as far as real estate prices go. And that may still ring true. I think that we're going to balance out on these prices. I think the prices are going to even out. I don't see a big crash coming unless something changes drastically, but I do see the prices getting a little more pressure. Some of the sellers out there wanting to sell and lowering their prices. We're already seeing a little bit of that. I had a house over in Central Park, and the seller had lowered the price down to 1.1 million. We came in with an offer at $1 million flat. They were a little offended. They came back at $1.05 million. We went out, I think, about $1.25 million. We ended up getting a deal. So we were about $75,000 off of that particular property. So sellers are working with buyers a little bit more on the pricing. So if you see a house for sale and it's been on the market for 50 days or 60 days or more, and maybe they had a price drop, but then it's been another 3 weeks since that price drop, and still nobody's purchased that home. Those are the homes. Those are the good deals. Those are the ones where you can go in and probably lower a little less and get a good deal on that. So if you have any questions about strategies when you're purchasing a home, or if you're thinking about listing your home, selling your home, give me a call. Let's talk about it, because the market is a little changed. And so I want to be able to give you the current market conditions so you can make the best decision possible, regardless if you're buying a home or selling a home. Just know if you're buying a home, you have more power now than you've had in a decade. Yeah, interest rates are in that 6 to 7% range, but you're getting a lot of other benefits to that, with there being less buyers in the market and sellers waiting longer. That's giving you a lot more power as a buyer. And then sellers, it's not the end of the world. It's not catastrophic. We're in a great market, right? 6 months balanced market. But what that means is really looking at your home with a critical eye and identifying things that maybe a buyer with fresh eyes is going to come in and they're going to see that right away. We want to get those things fixed up. So get me involved early, even if you're not thinking to sell until the next 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. Give me a call. Let's do an initial consultation, an initial walkthrough. I can give you some ammunition from there. Or if you're a buyer, same thing. Give me a call a little early. Let's get you tuned in with a lender partner of mine so you can start looking at your finances, find out what your payment's going to be, or at least approximate payments, what your closing costs are going to be, and that kind of thing, so we know where we should be looking in the market for your particular home. And that's really about it for today's podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, give me a call, 720-688-5110. Please hit that subscribe button, which is right here on my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. Right there, hit that subscribe button and be tuned in for April 1st. The first Thursday of April. I haven't looked at my calendar yet. I don't know what day that is, but I know it's the first Thursday of April when we're going to shoot to get the podcast out. I'm going to be going through bullet points for my sellers of what I bring to the table, why you're going to hire, why do you hire Ricky Schoonover over the other 28,000 or whatever it is agents out in the Colorado area. Why do you hire Ricky Schoonover? We're going to go through some specifics. So I'm going to bring that to you the first Thursday of April as we kick off season 6, episode 1. So this is our last episode for season 5. This is episode 12, and now next season kicks off because I started this podcast in the pandemic. So we started in April of 2020. So we're in our 5th year, going on to our 6th year. And so, yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any questions, 720-688-5110, Ricky Schoonover with 8Z Real Estate. You are tuned into the Denver Homes Market Report podcast. Thank you so much. See you next month.